They taught you to be good, not powerful. You were raised on bedtime vows: tell the truth, wait your turn, help first, and forgive fast. You were promised that the world is a fair ledger, that if you stack enough good deeds, authority will one day sign its name beside yours. But the world is not an accountant, it is a contest. The prizes do not go to the most innocent, they go to the most prepared. Look at how you were conditioned. Teachers graded your behavior as much as your thinking. Managers praised your team spirit while rewarding the person who controlled the room. Even at home, love was traded for compliance. Be agreeable, be harmless, be endlessly understanding. You learned to apologize for your edges. You sanded down the parts that frighten others. You mistook approval for safety. Now, place that training under a colder light. In meetings, you speak first with sincerity, they speak last with leverage. In dating, you lead with openness, they lead with options. On social media, you offer honesty, they manufacture image. The mask of virtue sells well because the buyer is desperate to believe it, and because you still think you are easy to handle. Watch the predictable man. He answers every message, explains every mistake, and promises transparency as if it were a shield. He thinks disclosure proves integrity. In practice, it surrenders initiative. He shows his cards to be fair, and wonders why the table keeps taking his stack. When the promotion goes elsewhere, he blames politics. When affection grows distant, he blames fate. He never suspects that the rule book he obeys is a theater program handed to the audience, not the actors. Betrayal does not arrive as a scream. It comes as a smile that doesn't reach the eyes. The colleague who praised your effort positions you as backup. The partner who adores your softness tests how far it bends. People do not change when the stakes rise. They reveal the strategy they have always practiced. You, trained to announce your intentions, are mapped before the opening move. Predators do not hunt the most substantial body, they hunt the most precise pattern. Machiavelli's lesson is embarrassingly simple. Outcomes belong to those who control perception and timing. Kindness without boundaries advertises vacancy. Honesty without discretion creates leverage for other people, not for you. A reputation for reliability, if unguarded, becomes a signal that you will absorb the cost when others miscalculate. And once the room knows you will pay, the bill grows larger by the day. The cure is not cruelty, it is clarity. Begin with silence. You do not explain impulses you have not acted on. You do not react to rumors, you price them. You learn the difference between being trusted and being tested. You let your availability decline while your value becomes visible. You replace the instinct to be liked with the discipline to be read as necessary. Necessity is respect's older brother. Consider 3 moves. First, stop broadcasting your needs. People cannot weaponize what they do not have. Second, protect your image like currency, clean, minimal, predictable in quality, not in behavior. Third, keep one decision in reserve. The option you do not reveal is the power you do not spend. In a market addicted to immediacy, patience is a terrifying signal. It says, you can wait, so you are not desperate. And if you are not desperate, bargains must shift toward you. None of this requires malice. It requires adulthood. You are not abandoning morality. You are refusing to be managed by it. Morality is most persuasive when backed by consequence. Without the credible possibility of saying no, your yes is cheap. Without the ability to withdraw, your love is leverage for someone else. This is the painful truth you were never taught. Protection first, then generosity. Posture first, then intimacy. Position first, then disclosure. Strategy is the skeleton that lets virtue stand upright. Without it, goodness collapses under its own weight. To win in a world of wolves, you must learn the rules of the hunt. Guard your power, then give with measure. You believe the world owes you a return for your loyalty. You imagine that if you are faithful, transparent, and kind, the system will pay you back with protection. That is the first illusion. Power is not an altar where you leave offerings and receive blessings. Power is a market. It buys only what increases its reach and ignores what does not. Your devotion feels profound to you, but to the structure you serve, it is a convenient resource consumed, then replaced. The myth of reciprocity begins early. You handed in perfect homework and expected an ideal grade. You stayed late and assumed the manager would remember. You gave more love and believed love would deepen in return. You projected fairness onto the machinery because fairness soothed your fear. But fear is not a contract, and hope is not collateral. People respond to incentives, not to wishes. When an alliance no longer serves them, they drift. When your loyalty becomes predictable, they treat it as utility, not as virtue. You think you are building trust. They believe you are declaring that you will absorb the cost. Notice how this expectation blinds you. You mistake politeness for commitment, proximity for allegiance, and compliments for guarantees. You hear, "We're a family," and you translate it as safety. In reality, it often means the rules will be flexible for them and fixed for you. You cannot see the rotation of favors above your head because you are busy proving you deserve a place. You are playing a hearts and flowers game in a room scored by ledgers. The ones who understand the ledger do not promise reciprocity, they calculate exchange. Enter the theater of virtue. On the chessboard, every piece wears a mask. The king performs solemn dignity, the bishop performs moral language, the knight performs charm, the pawns perform innocence. The board itself, media, meetings, social feeds, glows with costume lights. Here, the politician widens his eyes to show concern. The influencer cries on cue, and the partner posts gratitude to signal loyalty. You call it authenticity. It is staging the mask chosen for the audience that must be moved today. Masks do not lie by speaking. Masks lie by arranging attention. A leader announces transparency while deciding in corridors you cannot see. A lover uploads a highlight reel and leaves the arguments on the cutting room floor. A colleague praises teamwork and negotiates solo at night. Virtue, displayed, gathers trust. Trust, gathered, lowers defenses. Lowered defenses open the door. The costume is not decoration, it is a key, and the lock it opens is your expectation that goodness guarantees intent. Machiavelli would not tell you to hate this. He would ask you to see it. Morality that cannot measure effects becomes self-flattery. I was honest, you say, as if that settles the account. But truth without control is weakness. It is a confession delivered to a room that does not love you. Your facts become ammunition for someone else's aim. You think you were brave for speaking. They think you were kind enough to hand them the map. Understand the difference between morality and utility. Morality explains why you wish the world were stable. Utility describes how it moves. A statement can be true and still unwise to announce. A promise can be noble and still dangerous to make. You assume that clean motives create clean outcomes. They do not. Outcomes are engineered by leveraging timing, scarcity, image, and the credible threat of alternative action. If you lack those, your shining truth walks naked into the weather, and the weather has no mercy. You need a strategic awakening. Begin with the mask you wear. You can be sincere in private and strategic in public. You can intend good and stage selectively. Stop treating presentation as deceit. Treat it as armor. Choose a silhouette that communicates competence and economy. Few words, controlled tone, measured disclosures. Do not answer questions that were not asked. Do not reveal preferences that are still in negotiation. Silence is not dishonesty. It is the right to set a price on your voice. Next, audit your loyalties. Loyalty is not an infinite river. It is a ration. Give it where there is aligned interest, reciprocal cost, and consequence for betrayal. Build terms, not wishes. In work, that means roles, timelines, and exit options, written, visible, enforceable. In love, that means boundaries you will act on, not speeches about boundaries. A boundary you do not enforce is not a boundary. It is a bedtime story you tell yourself to fall asleep inside a house with open doors. Then refine your image. In a culture addicted to drama, do the opposite. Become consistent, minimal, and complex to provoke. When rumors move, do not chase. Let them exhaust themselves against your quiet record. When flattery arrives, convert it into proof of work, not into trust. When conflict arises, offer two options that both land you on solid ground. People must learn that dealing with you improves their position, but crossing you imposes cost. Mercy without edge invites theater. Mercy with edge creates order. Prepare for the emotional cost. The day you stop expecting love to do strategy's job, grief arrives. You will feel colder. You will miss the soft faith that said, "If I give more, they will give more." Let that sorrow pass through you like a winter rain. Do not harden into cruelty, harden into clarity. Keep your compassion, but keep it sheathed. Give it where it grows strength, not dependency. Give it with measure, not as a plea. When you live this way, you will look less available, but more valuable. Relationships will thin, but the remaining ones will be weight-bearing. Offers will slow, then improve. You will speak later and decide earlier. You will move like a player who knows the clock, not like a spectator who feels the music. The illusion will shatter, and behind it you will see the machinery, simple, indifferent, reliable to those who read it. Love can be real, honesty can be noble, loyalty can be beautiful, but none of them guarantee safety or success. They require structure, leverage, and timing to survive the arena. Strategy is not the enemy of goodness, it is the guardian of it. Without discipline, image becomes suicide. Without control, truth is a blade you hand to someone else. Do not beg for reciprocity, build terms, keep leverage, and give with measure. You do not lose power because you speak softly. You lose power because you cannot bear silence. Your need to be liked drags you toward the light, like a prisoner begging the jailer for a window. You call it a connection. They call it leverage. The man who must be seen, must be answered, must be reassured. He walks with a bell around his neck. Every room hears it. Emotional dependence is open credit. Anyone can borrow against it. They only need to offer what you hunger for. A compliment when you feel small, attention when you feel invisible, urgency when you fear being replaced. People read you faster than you read yourself. They watch where your eyes quicken, where your voice rises, where you over-explain. A tyrant does not test your statements, he tests your attachment. Consider work. You crave approval from a superior. You arrive early, say yes, and remove friction for everyone else. Soon, tasks appear that are just this once. Your weekends vanish. Gratitude becomes a leash. You think diligence will free you. It tightens the knot. He only needs to frown. Consider love. You text first to prove you care, and last to feel safe. You apologize for emotions you didn't cause. You accept tests, delayed replies, shifting plans, a joke that cuts close. You tell yourself, this is the price of being understanding. It is the tariff for entering a market where your need is currency. The other person senses you would rather bleed than be alone. They make absence heavy enough to make you kneel. Now look at politics, the daily kind. friends, groups, tribes. If belonging is your throne, you will pay taxes in silence. You will swallow slander to keep a seat. You will sign on to opinions that itch your skin because exile frightens you more than error. Attachment makes you readable. Readability makes you governable. This is the first revelation. The weak spot is not in your words, it lives in your attachments. That is why flattery feels like oxygen. That is why being ignored feels like drowning. Whoever controls your air controls your choices. The second revelation is uglier. Wounds choose your strategy long before you do. Think back to the moment the door closed, the rejection that wrote its name into your ribs, the humiliation that still mutters under your breath. You say you're pursuing influence to build, to serve, to protect, but under the banner, another army marches. The need to be undeniable so you are never ignored again. You want power not for its work, but for its anesthesia. This is how self-betrayal begins. You compromise to enter rooms where you are not respected. You sell at a price for proximity. You accept rules that strip you of bite so you can remain inside the circle. Your calendar fills, your spine thins. You start to narrate exhaustion as purpose, servitude as leadership, and survival as love. Applause for sacrifice becomes meaningful. You are not leading, you are auditioning. Rejection and inferiority breed two masks. One is the savior, indispensable, endlessly available, the first call at midnight. You are required to rescue. The other is the monarch of mirrors. You curate an image until no one can see your need beneath the shine. The first creates addiction in others to stay needed. The second creates spectacle to remain seen. Both are slaves to validation. Machiavelli cuts through the romance. He asks you to control your hunger. Those who cannot endure being disliked cannot act when action offends. Those who cannot tolerate solitude cannot negotiate when silence is the only leverage. If you need applause, you will spend policy on applause. If you need caresses, you will spend boundaries on caresses. The trade is always the same. You exchange power for relief. There is a cleaner road, but it begins in the dark. Sit with the wound without feeding it. Watch the urge to explain rise in your throat and let it pass unspoken. Practice not answering immediately. Return a message when your pulse is slow. The absence you once feared becomes your instrument. Then convert dependence into design. Build terms where there were cravings. In work, define scope, limit access, track results. Negotiate from numbers, not gratitude. Refuse the favor with no clear end. In love, state standards in actions, not essays. If behavior repeats, consequences follow. You do not shout ultimatums, you replace yourself. In the tribe, keep one foot outside. Maintain a network broad enough that exile from one circle does not starve you. When survival doesn't depend on them, you recover choice. Next, turn kindness from reflex into craft. Be generous, but never as proof of worth. Be warm, but never as payment for entry. Give where it strengthens both sides. Mercy can stabilize a domain. Indiscriminate mercy invites siege. Carry a whole heart in an armored chest. You will be accused of coldness. Let them accuse. They are reacting to the loss of your predictability. The room had a script for you: apologize, explain, placate, and you have burned it. Soon, responses adjust. The colleague asks rather than assumes. The partner calibrates to match your quiet standards. The tribe learns your silence is a boundary, not a sulk. You are no longer a bell, you are a clock. And yet, the final obstacle is not external, it is the mirror. Look at the child in your eyes who still wants someone to promise you will never be left. That promise cannot be kept. Power begins when you stop asking it to be. If you can carry the possibility of loss without bargaining away yourself, you stop being a mark. You become a mover of terms. You do not harden into stone, you harden into choice. The mirror will try to bargain. One more explanation, one more apology, one more performance of how good you are. Decline. Goodness displayed for permission is not goodness, it is theatre. Let your record be your statement. Let your decisions carry your shape. Let absence finish sentences you no longer waste breath on. When you can face the reflection that craves mercy and choose standards over pleading, the mask falls. Strategies become clear because the wound is quiet. You can hire, fire, love, and leave without hating yourself or worshipping the other. You can say yes because you want to, not because you fear not. And when the tyrant tests your attachment, he finds slack where he expected a rope. Master your hunger, or your hunger will master you. The door doesn't slam, it stays slightly open so you can hear the laughter on the other side. You walk out of the meeting with careful notes you believed would decide the day, and only then see the decision was made before you arrived. The nods were theatre, the smiles were props. Your name never touched the script. You thought goodness shielded you. It marked you, highlighting where to cut. You send a clarifying message to rescue the misunderstanding. The reply lands like a receipt. Appreciate your effort. No correction, no promise, just the administrative closure of a file labeled, "You tried." Scrolling back, you watch your eagerness become evidence against you. The more you explained, the more they mapped you. The more you gave, the easier it was to price your hours at zero. At home, the same pattern. Keys in a bowl, a conversation that never begins. You apologize for a tone you didn't use to avoid the argument you know will bloom. Evening turns into a corridor of small surrenders, choosing silence over questions, laughing at a joke that cuts, adjusting plans you didn't make. You call it keeping the peace. It is the peace a garrison feels after the gate is taken. Then the break. The colleague you covered for signs their name over your work. The partner postpones you for the third weekend with a smile that dares you to protest. A friend repeats your private doubt in a room that eats secrets for sport. No shouting, no fight to win, just the quiet math of loss. You accept that appearances were a stage, and you bought tickets with hours and hope you could not afford. This is the moment of ruin. The world does not collapse around you. The scaffolding inside you falls. The lines you memorized, "Be transparent, be patient, be endlessly kind," do not hold the roof. You feel foolish for believing sincerity summons protection. You realize it attracts predators who prefer their meals pre-seasoned with apology. You are not angry yet. You are hollow. Stay there. Resist the final impulse to explain yourself. Let humiliation finish its burn. In that stillness, a different thought rises. Real cynicism is born, not bitterness that hates the world, but clarity that refuses hallucination. You remember Machiavelli's hard lesson. People judge more by the eye than by the hand, because everyone can see and few can test. Appearance governs, because it is what most can grasp. You mistook intention for insulation. It was a costume. Sentiment dies in stages. First, the belief that being liked means being safe. Then, the belief that being honest means being heard. Finally, the belief that being available means being chosen. Each faith falls, and mercy arrives with the fall, because beneath lies a flaw that does not flinch. Incentives, leverage, timing, consequence. But stone holds weight. With sentiment dying, sight sharpens. You see where you gave away your vote in your own life. You see the moments you argued for limits instead of enforcing them. You know how you mistook proximity for alliance, words for contracts, emojis for loyalty. You do not forgive yourself yet. You take inventory. Who benefits from your explanations? Who profits when you repair what others break? Who hands you a virtue costume and claps when you vanish beneath it? From that inventory, a furnace lights. Detachment is not boredom, it is heat without smoke. You test what happens when you say less. Many fires die when you stop feeding them oxygen. You answer messages after your pulse slows. You decline invitations that rely on your reluctance to be rude. You wait a day before agreeing to anything that costs a week. Silence stops being a plea. It becomes a price. The furnace needs fuel. The parts of your identity glued to outcomes you cannot control. You burn with the need to rescue what mocks your effort. You burn the dream of being understood by people who profit from misunderstanding you. You burn the hope that one grand gesture will convert neglect into devotion. In that controlled burn, you feel smaller and, paradoxically, heavier. Density returns, spine returns. Detachment is not cruelty, it is alignment. When you no longer need permission to protect yourself, your actions can be clean. You inform without apologizing. You enforce without performing rage. You leave without carving wounds into yourself to prove it mattered. Compassion survives, but you carry it like a blade with a sheath. You draw it when it stabilizes the field, not when loneliness begs for a role. Practice 3 disciplines. First, pause. Count to the end of your breath before you respond to provocation. Second, terms. Replace vague goodwill with thresholds, scope, deadlines, consequences. Put numbers where you used to put hope. Third, distance. Keep one step outside the circle that feeds you, so you can survive the day it stops. As the furnace works, identity rebuilds around choices, not cravings. You become legible to yourself. You measure relationships by mutual risk instead of slogans. You stop auditioning for rooms you already fund. When someone demands proof of your loyalty, you ask for evidence of their competence. When someone tests your softness, they find architecture beneath velvet. The world does not become kinder, it becomes clearer. You begin to admire quiet power, the email that holds 2 boundaries in 3 sentences, the meeting where you move one lever and say nothing else, the love that does not need a parade to keep a line. You are not trying to be feared. You are trying to be unreadable to those who farm predictability. This is the turn toward reconstruction. You no longer trade yourself for access to someone else's stage. You choose where to stand and stand there long enough to become a landmark. Some people fall away. Let them. What remains begins to orbit, not because you beg, but because gravity respects mass. The world did not punish your goodness. It punished your exposure. Now you protect the first with the second. You do not glow for free. You do not bleed to be believed. You accept being misunderstood by those who need you to comply. You carry a calm refusal like a coin you can spend at any door. Power requires this distance. Without it, every decision is a rescue mission for your younger self. With it, decisions become engineering. Less thunder, more architecture, fewer promises, more pillars. You step back from the noise and design the room. From there, you can choose mercy without debt, alliance without worship, firmness without hatred, detach to see to decide, decide to live. You didn't chase love, you chased insurance. You wanted a contract against loneliness, a guarantee against betrayal, a badge that would force the world to treat you as precious. Call it love if it comforts you. In practice, you were bargaining for leverage, attention on demand, priority without question, loyalty you could spend like a card. You didn't miss love, you mispriced. Start with the hidden transaction. Every alliance moves value. When 2 people meet, currencies cross the table. Time, status, protection, information, effort, risk. Love is simply the word we use when the exchange is rich enough to make both forget they are trading. Respect is payment for reliability. Admiration is an interest in rare competence. Even tenderness keeps accounts presence when it hurts, patience when it is slow, restraint when anger tries to break things. Deny the ledger, and you become its victim. You saw forever in gestures that were really discounts. A compliment offered when you were useful, a promise made when they needed cover, a kiss delivered like a stamp on a form. They weren't evil, they were economical. So were you. You offered comfort as credit to be cashed later and called that credit love because the word felt holy. Holiness doesn't cancel accounting, it only hides it from the naive. There is no shame in exchange. The shame is pretending it isn't there, then crying theft when the math returns. If you give unconditionally, prove it by never asking for a receipt. If you cannot, you are in the market with the rest of us. Admit you are trading, and the world becomes simpler. Invest where returns are real. Cut losses without writing tragedies to justify them. Now learn what mercy means when discipline holds the grip. Mercy is not the reflex that floods you when you fear abandonment. That is self-preservation wearing white. Real mercy is control, the power to grant relief without becoming obligated, the strength to withdraw it when the field abuses it. Kindness, in a Machiavellian frame, is selective and timed. You do not water the weed because you feel generous today. You water the tree because shade will stabilize the courtyard tomorrow. Redefine kindness as a strategy. Give where the return is strength on both sides, where your help builds a partner who can carry weight back to you. Withhold where your warmth feeds dependency or invites contempt. People assume mercy is endless when they learn there is no cost. So set a cost. Standards first, access second, reward last. The order matters. A standard without a penalty is a wish. A boundary without consequence is theater. Your compassion is a tool. Keep it sharp by using it to build structure, not to buy approval. You will be accused of calculating. Accept the charge. Calculation ends the performance of goodness for applause and replaces it with stewardship for results. When someone insists you've grown cold, translate it. Their free ride ended. When someone says you've changed, translate it. Your inventory moved from open shelf to locked case. Nothing about your heart must die. Your logistics must mature. Shift from victim to player. A victim waits for fairness. A player sets terms. A victim chases clarity through explanation. A player creates clarity through options. Stop asking people to be kind. Give them incentives to be consistent. For the manager who drains your time, present 2 timelines with 2 prices and let them choose. For the partner who tests your patience, let behavior lead to access, less respect, less proximity. For friends who love drama more than your peace, place them on the calendar where they can no longer steal your week. Observation replaces reaction. Negotiate against patterns, not words. Track the apology that repeats without change. Track who shows up when there is no audience. Track whose emergencies return like seasons. The pattern is the person. Respond to the pattern, not the performance. When you do, your calendar, wallet, and nervous system report a surplus. Surplus is power in slow motion. You will miss the old story where love promised to save you. You will miss the rush of giving everything and calling the emptiness noble. That grief is honest. Let it pass. Then face what the new frame returns. Steadier sleep, cleaner decisions, fewer explanations. You become someone whose yes means yes because your no has teeth. Allies rise because you stopped subsidizing liabilities. Leverage accrues because you stopped leaking it through eager generosity. In this frame, love doesn't die. It changes job description. Love becomes the garden you protect with walls and seasons. Inside, you grow things that feed the house, trust that survives friction, passion that doesn't require chaos, loyalty measured by shared risk, not shared slogans. You do not display the garden for strangers. You open the gate for those who invest in the soil. Hold the reframe with 3 habits. First, price your time. If a request takes an hour, ask what it pays in money, knowledge, access, or goodwill, and decide before you agree. Second, prefer reversible moves when the stakes are unclear. Save irreversible commitments for partners who have proved they can bleed with you. Third, keep one strategic reserve energy, cash or information no one can see or spend for you. Reserves turn panic into posture. None of this requires cruelty. It requires refusing to be consumed. Keep a warm voice and a clear eye. Love intensely without letting love erase the contract that keeps both sides honest. Be generous without selling the right to be treated well. The shift is simple to describe and hard to live. Stop paying to be chosen. Start choosing where your payments create power and peace. It was never love that failed you. It was the bargain you never wrote, the terms you never set, the leverage you handed away because nice felt safer than necessary. Write the bargain now, set the terms, hold the leverage, then choose love that strengthens your position and theirs. Do not trade your crown for a hug. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. You heard that line and imagined tyrants. Hear it again and imagine discipline. Fear is not screaming, it is certainty. People fear what does not flinch. They fear boundaries that do not move when pushed. Love without structure becomes appetite. Power is the meeting point of structure, and appetite yours structured, theirs moderated. Today, you stop apologizing for strength. You choose precision over cruelty. Controlled ruthlessness is not blood. It is the cold hand that moves one lever at the right time. Cruelty sprays the room to feel big. Precision touches one nerve to change behavior. At work, that means you stop arguing your worth and start setting terms. You offer 2 timelines with 2 prices, then wait. When a colleague tries to ride your effort for free, you remove access quietly. You do not leak anger. You close a door and keep walking. The lesson travels faster than fury ever could. In love and friendship, controlled ruthlessness looks like one act of withdrawal instead of a month of pleading. You do not punish, you recalibrate. When disrespect repeats, you make the consequence visible once. A cancelled plan, a lost privilege, a schedule corrected to match reality. You are not loud, you are consistent. The message is simple. This field has rules. Break them, and the weather changes. Predictable consequences build respect, and respect grows a healthy caution about wasting your time. Precision is surgical. You measure before you cut. Ask yourself 3 questions. What is the minimum action that will change the incentive? What is the cleanest way to execute it? What emotional leakage must I refuse? Refusing leakage is the art. No exploding paragraphs, no wounded monologues, no public theater. A single, calm sentence can be a scythe. This won't work for me. Here is the new arrangement. The fewer words you use, the heavier each word feels. But precision alone is not the whole blade. The other edge is silence. Patience is Machiavelli's weapon because time exposes everything. When you wait, masks slip, bargains reveal hidden fees, and impulsive rivals make your case for you. Withholding reaction multiplies influence because people hear their own echo in the quiet. They project motives and oversell. Your restraint becomes a mirror that makes them talk. Practice the discipline of delay. Do not reply at the speed of provocation. Let your pulse normalize. If the matter survives an hour, it deserves an hour. If it dies in that hour, it was bait. Silence protects your options and forces others to place theirs on the table. Urgency becomes flexible when you do not respond. Gossip loses oxygen when you refuse outrage. The crowd turns toward your stillness to find its center. Silence also rearranges the room. When you speak rarely, people parse your words. When you talk often, they price you as noise. Become the person who summarizes in one sentence what others spend 10 to say. Pauses make people show their need. Then you understand the map. Who must be seen, who must win, who must be soothed. From there, small moves become large. Controlled ruthlessness and silence meet in posture. You are not available on demand. You do not explain decisions that do not need explanation. You do not correct every false impression. You allow some myths to work for you. This is not deception, it is economy. Your attention, your presence, your name, these are scarce resources. Scarcity creates respect when it is consistent. Never threaten withdrawal. Withdraw once, cleanly, and let the calendar teach the lesson. Now, the paradox that separates brutes from builders. Strategic compassion. Kindness can do what violence cannot win, hearts that resist force and stabilize fields that punish pressure. But kindness must have an aim. You offer relief to people who can convert relief into order. You forgive the mistake that came from risk, not the one that came from laziness. You choose to teach where teaching returns competence. Mercy without criteria is sentiment. Mercy with criteria is governance. Consider the team member who is loyal but inexperienced. A tyrant shames them to perform. A strategist invests, gives a clear system, enforces standards, praises growth. That compassion produces capability, and capability repays you with reach. Or the partner who stumbles honestly, no manipulation, just human error. You do not perform domination, you show how trust can be rebuilt with actions and time. That mercy deepens devotion, which is a stronger glue than threat alone. Power that relies only on fear is brittle. Add earned goodwill, and it becomes resilient. Strategic compassion also extends to yourself. You will not sustain precision while whipping your own back. Do not confuse discipline with self-contempt. Rest before you collapse. Protect your mornings. Guard your focus the way a fortress guards its gate. If you treat yourself as disposable, others will believe you. If you show that your peace is expensive, it will be purchased less often. Put the three together, and you become difficult to move. Your ruthlessness is a scalpel, not a storm. Your silence is an anvil where others bend. Your compassion is a contract with reality. People learn the math. With you, effort is rewarded, manipulation is taxed, panic gets nothing. This math spreads without marketing. Soon, the noise stops testing you. It goes elsewhere to feed. Make this practical. Write down your non-negotiables and the consequence, the smallest action that changes incentives. Commit to a response window for provoking messages. Build a trigger line for mercy. What proof of effort or risk qualifies this person for another chance? When the moment arrives, read the card, not your mood. Mood is a weather report. The card is policy. As you live this, the shadow you feared becomes your ally. Ambition stops pretending to be humility. Aggression stops pretending to be kindness. Both stand beside you under leash and law. You do not deny your hunger to be effective. You direct it. You do not amputate your anger. You harness it to pull a clean decision uphill. People feel the difference. They may say you are harder. What they mean is you have borders now, and borders make nations real. Understand this final image. A river without banks is a flood. A river with banks lights cities. Your banks are precision, patience, and chosen mercy. Within them, your power flows fast and precise. Outside them, you drown yourself and everyone you hope to help. Harden the banks. Let the water run. Be precise, be patient, be merciful on purpose. You thought victory would feel loud. It doesn't. Real power is the sound of a door you could slam, staying quietly ajar because you chose it. The room understands. The strongest signal is the restraint that can be verified. You had the option to scorch, and you didn't, not out of fear, out of design. You become the quiet ruler when your reactions are no longer free for the taking. The phone buzzes, you let it finish buzzing. An insulting email arrives, you answer tomorrow with 3 sentences and 2 options. In a meeting, you speak late and move one lever, scope, budget, or timeline, and the table reorients. At home, you stop solving feelings with speeches. You change schedules, not stories. The one who could destroy but doesn't holds the room without raising his voice. Restraint is not passivity. It is pressure held in a fist. You do not forgive because you are weak. You forgive because it keeps your field clean. You do not retaliate because noise would discount your name. Your calm is not a mask. It is policy. People sense it and become careful. They check their work twice. They speak straight. Fear and respect intertwine, not because you threaten, but because you are consistent. Peace is not a gift you wait to receive. Peace is engineering. You set boundaries like architecture, visible, load-bearing, unsurprised by weather. You make agreements specific enough to survive memory. You keep a reserve time, cash, energy, so you never have to beg. You decline what endangers the structure even when it flatters the ego. You measure a decision by what it does to your future calm. The world calls this cold. It is temperature control. Machiavelli's gift is not corruption, it is eyesight. He teaches you to see incentives instead of slogans, to count costs instead of moods, to ask who benefits when you move. When reality disappoints you, you adjust policy, not poetry. You do not pray for human nature to change. You build rails that keep it from wrecking the train. Awareness becomes mercy. You stop hating people for being predictable and design around their predictability. A realist's legacy is order that doesn't advertise itself. Meetings end on time. Drama cannot find oxygen. Your calendar looks dull, and your life becomes rich. You are generous without becoming edible. You are available without being owned. People notice the outcome before they understand the discipline. They call you lucky. You know it is the math of boundaries performed daily. Practice 3 quiet arts first. The pause. Never answer at the speed of your wound. Count a breath, then another, until the impulse becomes a choice. Second, the template. Pre-make your responses to the common provocations, deadline slips, rumor, guilt, so your values answer faster than your temper. Third, the reserve move. Keep one option unspoken that improves your position if the room turns. The option you don't spend keeps every other option honest. In love, peace looks like standards that are lived, not announced. You don't argue for respect. You root around disrespect. Affection rises because safety is real, not ceremonial. Friendship narrows to those who can carry weight. The house is quieter, the fire burns hotter. In ambition, peace looks like projects that fit your season. You stop buying applause with exhaustion. You say no to opportunities that insult your bandwidth. You aim for compounding, not fireworks. The graph rises more slowly, then suddenly becomes steeper, because you stopped leaking progress into spectacle. And in yourself, peace is a room you curate. No clutter of old wars, no shrine to what might have been. Just a desk with plans, a window with weather you do not control, and a door you close when you need to think. You carry yourself like a city with working lights. This is not softness, it is sovereignty. You do not dominate, you govern. You don't chase control in others, you take control in yourself, and let the field adjust. When conflict knocks, you open, you measure, you decide, and you close. Then you return to the work that makes storms uninteresting. Power is not taken from the world, it is taken from the self.